God in heaven, we thank you. Thank you for this day. We are always longing. We're always longing for the Sabbath, because this is where we come and meet you, God. It is always good to be with your people. And it's an honor even to handle these truths. It is a privilege to have this understanding. Dear God, as we try to understand our histories and these histories, in order to understand our history, I pray that you will bless us, give us an understanding so we can understand exactly what is happening in these last days. Help us to have confidence in these histories, in these lines, because it is you, Lord, who is leading. And so we thank you for everything. Thank you in the name of the Lord, even the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay. Happy Sabbath again, everyone. I hope everything is clear on the board. We will start with just a quick review on what we've done the last Sabbath, and then we will continue to populate these lines. You remember we were discussing the Fourth Diadochi War. The Fourth Diadochi War, we said it is the story of Pyrrhus, right? So we said the Fourth Diadochi War, we said it's divided into two. You have Pyrrhus in Macedonia, and then you have Pyrrhus in Italy, right? So this is the Fourth Diadochi War. And then what we've done, we also tried to lay the line of World War II, right? Just beneath this line. But what we want to do today, we want to cut this line here, because we've learned in this movement that we are able to cut this line. So we will cut this line, right? And then we will bring it underneath here. So we will be discussing Paris in Italy, and then hopefully we will be able to do our history if we try to make application again on World War III. So basically, this is what we're gonna try to do today. Not really, right? Okay, so the Pyrrhus in Macedonia. We began this line in 319 BC. This is when Antipater, Cassandra's father, died, right? And then he left Polyspecon as a regent. And then we find in Macedonia, you have Cassandra and Polyspecon really ruling in Macedonia, but you know that Cassandra will want to have an upper hand in the kingdom. So we saw Cassandra coming to Athens. He took Athens and he put a dictator in Athens, that Demetrius of Phaleres we were talking about. And that dictator will rule for 10 years, from 317 BC to 307 BC. So we were marking that 10 years. But another thing we want to mark, in 319 BC, Pyrrhus is born, because our story is talking about Pyrrhus. So we will note that Pyrrhus is born in 19 BC. And so the next thing we see in 303, we see Pyrrhus making a deal or an alliance with Demetrius. I'll try to move quick. And then in 301, in the Battle of Ipsus, we saw Antigonus and Demetrius. Really, that is the one thing, because that's the king of the north, Antigonus and Demetrius. They are together with Pyrrhus, the king of the south, and they will fight the allies, Seleucus, Lysimachus, and Cassander in 301 BC. We know Antigonus will die there because of these elephants. Remember, we talked about these elephants blocking the way when Demetrius was trying to help his father, but he couldn't because of the elephants, right? So 291, we saw this relationship being broken now because Demetrius and Pyrrhus have made an alliance in 303. But now this relationship is broken. Pyrrhus, we see Pyrrhus is attacking Thessaly, and we said Thessaly is a sphere of influence of Demetrius, right? So, but we saw Demetrius is going to quickly come from Aetolia to Thessaly and removes Pyrrhus easily there back to Epirus. We remember those things. So, but what we want to know is Pyrrhus is making his battle, but Demetrius is going to remove him easily. And this relationship is broken as well. 289 to 288, this battle still continues because we said Demetrius was in Aetolia, right? When he finishes those campaigns, he's going to go up to Epirus, attack Epirus, and plunder the country. You remember we talked about Pyrrhus, they told him Demetrius is on the way, but they miss each other on the way, right? So when Demetrius came to the country, Pyrrhus was not there, so he was able to destroy the country. So we just marked Demetrius attacking Epirus there, right? And then we move on, and then we move to 287. Remember we talked about Demetrius making a peace with Pyrrhus in order for him to raise his army. He wanted to raise 100,000 soldiers and 500 ships, right? But you remember we talk about the allies coming to Pyrrhus to make a deal with Pyrrhus so they can kill Demetrius. So we talk about Pyrrhus and the allies, but we said it was Lysimachus who was able to come up to help destroy Demetrius. And Demetrius is going to be driven away, and we know later he's going to die. He's going to be captured by Seleucus. He's going to keep him in Babylon for three years. After 3 years, he will die. But the point is, 287, Demetrius is defeated. By who? By Pyrrhus and Lysimachus. And then they divide his sphere of influence or his territory into west and east. This is what they did, right? But we say now 287 is a Cold War between Pyrrhus and Lysimachus because they fight together now. Characteristics of the Cold War, we said, is the sanctions and propaganda. This is how Lysimachus destroyed or conquered Pyrrhus in this Cold War. Sanctions and propaganda. We're not going to go into details with that. We've done that last week. Right, but we say 285, Pyrrhus is defeated by Lysimachus in this war. And then Pyrrhus lost everything except for Epirus, his country. This is what we said. Right, then we come to World War II. World War II, we see this 10 years again, 1929 to 1939. We said there's a proxy war there, the Spanish War. Really, who's fighting is Stalin and Hitler. It's a proxy war. But we say this war is going to determine, or it's the preparation of this World War II we are discussing here. And then in 1939, April 1, we see Franco winning in Spain, because there is a war there. Franco is this rebel, or is the one who's rebelling against the government in Spain. So he's being supported by Hitler and Mussolini. But Stalin is supporting the sitting government. So you see these two forces fighting. Right, then in August 23, we have an alliance. We said there's an alliance between Demetrius and Pyrrhus. We see an alliance with Hitler and Stalin, right? Because Hitler, he doesn't want to make a mistake the Germans made in World War I, trying to fight a war into France. So they want to make a peace with Stalin before he invades Poland. So this is the deal there. September 1, still 1939, we see now Hitler and Stalin versus the Allies, England, France, and Poland. So this is when the war began in the Western Front, just like the Battle of Ypres, right? The next thing we see, August 9, 1940, we're gonna say this alliance they made here, now this friendship is broken, because Stalin is gonna pull out, we said, from the deal. You remember the deal was, there were three things that they agreed on. It's a non-aggression pact. It's to say Stalin and Hitler, they're not gonna make war for 10 years. Number two, it was about sphere of influence. They were dividing Europe. It's a secret deal. It's this Molotov-Ribbentrop pact, if you remember. And then the third thing was about economy. It was to say that Hitler or Stalin is going to support Hitler, right? With grain, we said, and raw materials like iron and the other logistics Hitler needs for the war, right? But Hitler was going to pay back that was going to pay. And he was going to pay not with money, but he was supposed to share their technology. Germany was supposed to share technology with Stalin, of which we know Hitler is not going to do that, because he wants to make war with Stalin anyway. But Stalin is trusting Hitler here. And we are saying in August 9, 1940, Stalin is pulling out from this deal, because he's looking at the war and he thinks Hitler is winning the war, and then he's pulling out. So we are saying this friendship is broken, but they're going to have to sit on the table and discuss the issues again. But we said after the meeting, they are going to Stalin is gonna agree again to support Hitler in this war, because when you sit on the table, you see, no, Hitler is not winning the war as fast as I thought. So I'm going to support Hitler again, and we said he's going to support him doubled now. So really, we're discussing Pyrrhus invading Thessaly, and then Demetrius removing Pyrrhus from Thessaly quickly, easily. We are saying Stalin is pulling out, but Hitler is going to sit on the table with him, and again, he's going to make him believe in him again quickly, and the war continues, right? And Stalin continues to support Hitler. And then June 22, 1941, this is Operation Barbarossa. So this is Demetrius attacking Epirus, we said, right? So this is Operation Barbarossa. This is Hitler attacking USSR. He's starting the war now in the Eastern Front. So there's going to be this war. Hitler's going to win the war, because Stalin was not ready for the war. And so in 1945, we talk about USSR coming together with the Allies to defeat Hitler. This is Pyrrhus coming together with the Allies to defeat Demetrius. So, but we said this is Marcus who came to the war, or to the battle. And we are saying here it is United States who comes to the battle. And then they defeat Hitler, and then they divide Germany into East and West, just like they divided Demetrius's territory into West and East. So after that, we see a Cold War. And then we know Russia at the end of this Cold War is going to be defeated, right? You remember USSR had 15 states in it, but USSR, they are going to lose all these states, but Russia, and they were going to be left with Russia, just like Pyrrhus lost everything except for Pyrrhus, right? So let's continue with our study. We're gonna do now Pyrrhus in Italy. So you will see we ended in 285. So we want to start in 285 BC. Remember that. So what is happening here? We're going to talk about theory, right? So we are talking about, let me just give a brief explanation here. So this is Italy. Right? So Italy is divided into two at this point. And first we see, we're going to say this is Epirus here. Just to have a picture. And then you have Macedonia somewhere there, right? So the south of Italy, you have these Greek states here. So Rome is at the top, right? The bottom, this bottom here, you have these Greek states. You have Tarentum somewhere here. Say somewhere here, you have theory, right? Let's get a picture of what is happening. So first, there is this old agreement. So there's an agreement between Tarentum and Rome that Rome will never sail down to Tarentum, to these territories. Even Tarentum will never go up to Rome. So that was the deal, right? But now you have theory. Theory has other plans. This city here, because these are Greek states, we say. So theory, they want to break ties with Tarentum, and they want to appeal to Rome. Because what is happening somewhere around here, you have these tribes, these Semite tribes, like the Lucanians, right? So they are giving problem to theory. So normally theory, when they are having issues here, they were supposed to inquire at Tarentum to appeal there for help. But this time, they are going to appeal to Rome. This is 285, we are saying, right? This is 285 BC. Another thing we need to note in theory, you have two parties there. We're talking about politics inside. You have the aristocrats, right? Aristocrats. And then you have the Democrats. So you have these two parties inside theory. The aristocrats are the ones that want to take a side with Rome. because they are interested in trade, right? They want to expand their trade with the Romans. The Democrats, they want to stay with the Greek states, right? But it happened in this year, 285. There was elections around at this time. The aristocrats won the elections. They are the one that got the upper hand. They got the upper hand. Now they want to appeal to Rome, right? So that's just what is happening here. So we are saying you have theory in 285, and they are appealing to Rome. And remember, when they do that, they are breaking this old agreement. We said that when the Romans come down to help, they are breaking this agreement. Yeah. Again, (282). So in 282 BC, theory is going to repeat this again. They are having issues in theory. They are not going to consult with Tarentum. They are going to involve the Romans. So you can see theory, they really want to make this relationship with the Romans. They do it the second time, but this time, what is going to happen? Tarentum will attack theory for this, right? So we say Tarentum attacks theory because they are consulting the Romans, right? And so this is what is happening in 282. And then now, what you're going to have this conflict between the Romans and Tarentum because of theory, right? So now the Romans are going to come down to defend theory, right, from Tarentum. So again, let's look at our map quickly. So we are saying now theory is attacking Tarentum in 282. Again, theory is going to appeal to the Romans, and the Romans, they will want to come down now, really to defend theory. But the people at Tarentum saw it as a suicide to fight the Romans. So what they will do, they will cross the sea, right? They will send ambassadors to 81 BC and ask for Pyrrhus to come over and help them. So they're asking help from Pyrrhus now. And Pyrrhus is going to accept the invitation. So we are saying 280, we're going to see Pyrrhus now coming over from Epirus to come and help in Tarentum, because now the Romans are making a war with Tarentum, right? So, right, so we are saying 280, Pyrrhus is going to arrive at Tarentum with all his ships, all his men of war, but he's brought elephants as well, 20 elephants in the ship. So as soon as he comes to Tarentum, Pyrrhus is going to prepare the city. So we will always refer to this map. Pyrrhus is coming from Epirus now to Tarentum, right? As soon as he arrives there, 280, he's gonna take over the city there. And then he's gonna start preparing the city, right? But as he was busy preparing the city, the Romans are coming down. They're marching down to attack him. They are giving him no time to prepare for the city. So Pyrrhus is not prepared for the battle, and he was told that the Romans are coming for him. He's gonna panic. He's gonna try to make peace with the Romans. He's gonna send people to say to the Romans, look, can we make peace? I wanna be an arbiter between Tarentum and Rome. This is what he sends them. And the Romans answered and said, I quote, the Romans neither take Pyrrhus as an arbiter, nor fear him as an enemy. So that was the answer. So the Romans, they want war with Pyrrhus. So he's forced go to war. He's gonna gather everything he has, right? And prepares for this war. And we are saying here 280, right? So this is when now we're gonna talk about this battle of Heraclea. They're gonna fight near Heraclea, the battle of Heraclea between the Romans and Pyrrhus. We know Pyrrhus will win the battle because the Romans are going to be terrified by elephants. They never seen elephants. So Pyrrhus won the battle. But Pyrrhus, he also lost in this battle because the Romans have, there are 15,000 Romans killed in this battle, but there are 13,000 soldiers killed on the side of Pyrrhus. So you can see, though he won the battle, but he's also lost 13,000 men, right? So this is when we're going to be drawing this phrase. There's this phrase which is used even today when it talks about the Pyrrhic victory. A Pyrrhic victory. This is when someone has won, but also you have lost, because Pyrrhus is winning here, but he's losing. He's losing men. He's losing everything. Right. So soon after this, the Romans are very angry because they lost in the battle and they want to fight immediately. They are giving him no time, right? And they are replacing people very easily. So Pyrrhus finds himself fighting again in 279, and he's going to fight in that battle of Ascula, right? So remember that we said Pyrrhus won because of this elephant. Now the Romans have tried to figure something to distract these elephants. They've made these elephant carts to try to block these elephants. But we know that in the battle, those carts, they won't help because the elephants are huge. And when the elephants are charging, so it's not easy to deal with elephants. So in the Battle of Asculum, Pyrrhus is going to win again this battle because of these elephants. But as we say, he's winning these battles, but he's also losing men, right? Someone tried to congratulate him to say, hey, Pyrrhus, you've won the battle. And Pyrrhus answered, he said, quote, if we are victorious in one more battle with the Romans, we shall be utterly ruined. So Pyrrhus finds himself now, he's winning, but he's losing. He's losing men, and these people at Tarentum and these Semite tribes around, when they were asking him to come and help, they promised him to give him 370,000 men. But when he came over, people now are reluctant in giving him this support. So he's not getting enough support. And now in 279, he finds himself winning but losing. And the Romans, they want to fight him again. They are not discouraged by losing these two battles. And the Romans, they got tons of soldiers. They are replacing these soldiers like nothing, you know. And Pyrrhus finds himself in this difficult position. These people, they're not helping him. And his assistant back in home, no one is coming to help him. He's fed up with this war. He's trying to find a way, you know, to pull out, to leave. But you see now, when you leave, you have to come out with honor, you know, you can't just run away like as if you've been defeated. So soon after that, Pyrrhus is going to receive an invitation. He's going to receive an invitation from Sicily. In Sicily, they are asking him for help, you know. And also in Macedonia, there's this king in Macedonia that has died, Seleucus Caranus. But it's a different Seleucus Caranus, this one. It's not Seleucus of this Seleucid dynasty. It's a different Seleucus Caranus, right? So now he's finding himself having to choose these two positions he's getting now. Okay, Sicily is somewhere here. This is Italy, this is Sicily here. So they are asking him to come and help because these people here are being oppressed by the Carthaginians. So remember now, when you're here, somewhere here, you have Africa now here, right? So somewhere here, this is Africa. So we talk about Carthage, somewhere here. Carthage, this is Tunisia, by the way, right? Just to give a picture now. This is Carthage, Tunisia today. So these people are in here. These are Greek states, right? They are controlling Sicily. So Pyrrhus finds himself now having to come down to help. And they are promising him to give him 3 cities when he arrives. So he chose to come down to Sicily, not Macedonia. So as soon as he comes to Sicily, this city here, Syracuse, right? So they gave him the city as they promised. As soon as he comes to Syracuse, he takes over the place, he's in charge, right? So remember, we're discussing Pyrrhus now is just giving himself a break, but he's gonna come back anyway, back to Rome. So when he comes here, he's gonna take things to himself. He's gonna drive out the Carthaginians as he promised, right? But there's this city here. I'm just giving a brief history. I know if you give a brief history sometimes, you will be able to remember these things we taught. So Pyrrhus is successful in Sicily in driving out the Carthaginians. There's this city here, Lilibium, right? So these people are saying, the Carthaginians are saying, Pyrrhus, please don't get rid of us. Just leave us this Lilibium, this small city, then we'll be satisfied. We will stop fighting. But Pyrrhus now, because he sees everything is favoring him inside here, Pyrrhus is determined now to take everything, and his plan is to take everything in Sicily, even come down to Carthage itself, and he wants to go via Libya, and then he wants to come back this side victorious with great substance and come back to Italy and finish his work. This is his plan, right? But you see now here in Sicily, things are not good here because Pyrrhus is built these ships. There's a lot of ships that he has built. But now the ships needs people. He's calling drafts in these cities. He's forcing people to fill up these ships. That's the thing now. They have called Pyrrhus to help, but now Pyrrhus is oppressing these cities because he's forcing people to warn, because he wants to fill these ships and go back and destroy the Romans. This is his plan. People are not, people, they don't like him here now. So what they're going to do, the people of Sicily, because they want to get rid of him, they are going to make a league with the Carthaginians. They will come together against Pyrrhus now. And Pyrrhus finds himself with no place now in Sicily. And he wants to come out because he sees now things are not going as he planned. So he's figuring a way to come out now. But you see, when you come out, when you get out, you have to come out with honor, you can't just leave, But anyway, it happened while he was fighting, because these people in here are fighting him to get rid of him now. But it happened while they were fighting him, he received a message from Tarentum. The people at Tarentum are calling Pyrrhus for help. They are saying, Pyrrhus, come and save us. The Romans are coming. This is how he would get out of Sicily, in the pretext of trying to help Tarentum. So we see Pyrrhus again, leaving Sicily, back to Italy. So now this is where now we will talk about this battle, right? This battle of Beneventum. Because he's going to be fighting now. He's going to be fighting the Romans at the Battle of Beneventum in 275. Right? So we know what happened in Beneventum. So Pyrrhus, with his 23,000 people, is going to fight the Romans. He's going to gather others in Tarentum, make this battle, right? So we are discussing this battle of Beneventum now. So anyway, let's remove this. So this is the battle. You have the Romans coming on this side, right? You have Pyrrhus on this side. But Pyrrhus, as you know, is got the elephants, right? So these are the elephants. He's charging with the elephants. So the story goes that it happened as they were fighting. This elephant here got injured, right? And this elephant, sorry, somewhere, let's say this elephant somewhere here, it got injured along the battle. And this is a calf. And this calf has got its mother here. We will say this is the mother of the calf here. So when this elephant got injured, and the elephant is screaming, the mother of the calf heard the voice of the elephant that no matter what, this is my child, right? And this elephant turned back, is turning back now to see the calf which is injured, right? When this elephant turns, all the elephants turned with him. Now these elephants, there's chaos. These elephants are charging back at the camp of Pyrrhus now. These elephants are uncontrollable now, and the Romans are using the opportunity now of this chaos. They are attacking Pyrrhus because of these elephants. This is how Pyrrhus was defeated at the Battle of Beneventum, right? So so we say Pyrrhus, he lost at the Battle of Beneventum. So one thing to note here, you will see this is other way around now. What do we mean? We say it was the Romans which are attacking Pyrrhus, and Pyrrhus is winning, right? In Heraclea. Here, it is Pyrrhus is attacking the Romans. Pyrrhus is winning again. But now, it is the Romans which started to attack here. And the Romans have won the battle, right? It's something to note as we continue. So we say Pyrrhus has lost this battle in 275. And after this battle, he returns back to Epirus, right? As he always does. Soon after when he was retiring there, some other people called him, this king from Sparta called him to come and assist him. There are issues in Sparta, right? And Pyrrhus is gonna leave his place, Epirus, start these wars at Sparta. But these wars are gonna end up being fought. Even the final battle is gonna be fought in this battle, in this place called Argos, right? And so in Argos, what happens? So Pyrrhus is gonna go to Argos. He's go to this city, right? And he's fighting these kings in Argos. So his plan, Pyrrhus's plan, is to come overnight, because he was traveling at night, right? So because he wants to take them by surprise at Argos, right? He came there by night. When he get there, he finds that the gate is too small, because remember they are using elephants. So This is the elephant, right? This is the elephant. So you have this, you have elephant towers, because these are war elephants, right? So on top of the elephant, you have these towers, because you have people there on top, right? Plus minus 10 people are inside the tower. So, and then you have the handler, someone who's handling these elephants. So we are saying when Pyrrhus got to the gate, he couldn't enter in with these elephants. It's at night. So they had, what they need to do now is to take off these towers, remove them, bring in the elephants, right? And then when they are inside, they have to install the towers back to these elephants again. So this is a tiring work they have to do by night, in such a way now that while they were busy at night, even the people now inside the city were notified that they could see now someone is inside the place. So you can see the plan now is delaying a bit. But in the daytime, in the morning, Pyrrhus is finding himself fighting inside there. He's in the marketplace, he's fighting, right? So, okay, sorry, I'll have to take this board off, on and off now and again. It's fine. So Pyrrhus is finding himself fighting inside there. But while he was fighting, okay, when you see the marketplace is in an open space. But now these people are driving him into the streets, and the streets of these cities are very small, right? And when he assessed the whole thing, Pyrrhus could see that no ways, we're not gonna win this battle, because these streets are small and they can barely move, you know. So the plan now is to come out of the city. That was the plan. We need to come out of the city and regroup and plan again. Now, Pyrrhus, he knows he can't, he's not going to use the gate to get out, because you saw how they get in. So he's going to send a message. He's going to send someone, because he's got another army outside. His son, Helenus, is outside. He's sending a message to his son outside to say, break the wall. So they want to break the wall so they can use the wall for an exit, right? So the message went, but this guy who was sent, he didn't understand the message. It's a miscommunication we're talking about. He didn't understand the message. When he came outside, he told these other forces that were outside to say, Pyrrhus says, you need to charge in. He needs help inside. He's charging the people to go inside, right? So you can imagine now, these armies inside, they are rushing to that small gate, right? And you have people in the gate, you have people in the street. There's literally nowhere to go. And when Pyrrhus was trying to get out, he finds these armies are coming in, right? And so he's stuck inside this place now. And he had no choice. He had to fight for his life. And you know the story, he was fighting that other soldier. It's a hand-to-hand combat now. You remember the woman, there is this woman on top, the mother of the soldier that Pyrrhus is fighting with. on the streets, because people now are looking outside the windows. They are watching the battle on their windows in their houses, right? And then this woman is watching Pyrrhus fighting her son. The woman will take a tile of a roof tile and throw it at Pyrrhus. And the tile got him on the spine and he fell off the horse. And then that's how he was killed. So we are saying he died at Argos 272. Remember, we said Argos means white. White is this color of this harvest. You know, when the harvest is white, so it's the harvest time. So this is at Argos 272, right? Let's see if we can squeeze and make an application on what we've discussed so far. So this is the story of Pyrrhus in Italy. And right, so we are saying here, this is 1989. 1989 to 1991, right? This is the beginning of our line. And we are saying, we are noting a 10-year war here. There is a proxy war from 1979 to 1989, right? Afghan war, a proxy war. So even our line begins with this proxy war, right? All right, so what do we find in 1989? Because remember, we said here, you know that we're going to talk about this USSR. USSR is going to collapse in 1989, 1991. But particularly, you have this country, Ukraine. Ukraine, they want to align themselves with United States of America, right? Just like theory here wants to align themselves with Rome. So normally theory will align themselves with Tarentum, but this time with Rome, just like Ukraine used to align themselves with USSR, but now we have United States of America. Ukraine wants to align themselves with United States of America, and Russia will not like that, because we're going to talk about Russia now, right? So the next waymark we find here is 2014. So we saw in 288, theory again will align themselves. They are really pushing to strengthen these ties with Rome. So we are saying Ukraine, for the second time now, we see Ukraine really pushing to make these ties with United States of America or NATO or Europe, the West, as we know it today. So in 2014, you know what is going to happen in Ukraine, right? But even before 2014, November 2013, you have this president. His name is Viktor Yanukovych, right? Viktor Yanukovych was elected in 2010 in Ukraine, and he was like, he's understanding the vision of Ukraine, because remember, Ukraine wants to align themselves with the West. So people thought this Yanukovych is really understanding the vision of the country. But in 2013, Yanukovych, when he was about to sign this, because there's this deal, it's called the European Association Treaty. This treaty that was under development for many years, right? Now he was supposed to sign this deal. This deal is bringing Ukraine closer to NATO, right? Because remember, Ukraine, they want to align themselves now with NATO. But there's this process, right? Because you have Russia, you have Putin on the other hand, and Putin is watching these matters closely and is going to try to block Ukraine from entering these deals. So this is a trade deal. It's a political deal and it's a trade deal. This deal that was supposed to be signed in 2013. But Yanukovych, as he was supposed to sign, immediately he changes his mind. This decision coming from nowhere, he doesn't want to sign the deal. And that caused a huge uprising in Ukraine when Yanukovych refused to sign this deal. The reason he's refusing, you can see now, Putin is putting pressure on Yanukovych, not to sign this deal. These riots erupt, and they were called Euromaidan. So these are these riots now. They are called Euromaidan. Because Yanukovych didn't want to sign, and even later, because he's going to try to crack down the people using police, more than 100 people would die as he was trying to calm the situation. But as they were trying to resolve these issues, another agreement was signed with the opposition in order to cool down the situation. But things were so bad in Ukraine in such a way that later that afternoon, when Yanukovych, in the day that this new treaty was signed, Yanukovych had to flee and go into hiding because there was a lot of mistakes he made. He had to go into hiding, right? And later we know he's gonna go to exile to Russia because things were not looking good for him. In fact, the people were frustrated against him and they wanted him out of the country. Even the parliament, they ousted him. So we are talking about Yanukovych, a pro-Russian president in Ukraine, and he's fleeing the country to go into hiding in Russia. Really, we are discussing what we are discussing here. We want to discuss parentum attacking theory, because remember, theory, we are saying theory, they want to align themselves with the Romans. We are saying Ukraine wants to align themselves with NATO. This deal, this treaty that was supposed to be signed here was gonna fulfill the process to bring Ukraine closer to NATO, to Europe, to this deal, right? But we also know that this Tarentum is gonna invade, we are saying Tarentum invades Turi for that. We are saying Russia will attack Ukraine for all these issues, right? Because even this deal we are saying that was signed with the opposition, it was still a compromise. Putin didn't like it. So this is why Putin invaded Ukraine in 2014 as Tarentum and attacks Fury in 282 BC. This is all we are saying, right? We're not going to talk about this war, but it started in 2014, and Putin is going to annex Crimea and so forth. Next, we are talking about 2016, right? Because the people at Toronto, they're going to ask for help from Pyrrhus, and Pyrrhus is going to come to Toronto, prepare the city, we said, for war. Really, in 2016, we want to note for now, we just want to note Putin. Putin is preparing for war. So, it's gonna establish something called Praetorian Guard in Russia. So these are the guards that are loyal only to Putin. 300,000 men, soldiers, which are loyal only to Putin. So Putin is trying to fortify himself now, is trying to protect himself with these guards, right? So we are saying he's preparing for war. This is when Pyrrhus is preparing for war. Because remember, even before here, if you go to 2011, you remember what happened in 2011? The Arab Spring, right? Started in Tunisia. Those Arab Springs, these are the protests which started in Tunisia and went to these 5 Arabian countries like Egypt, you know, Libya, even Syria, Yemen, Bahrain, those countries and others. But those 5, you remember those revolutions, people were taking over the government, even in Libya. So Putin saw what happened in Libya to Gaddafi, because Gaddafi was killed like a dog on the streets, if you remember. So now, and Putin was blaming the United States for those things, particularly Hillary Clinton, because it was Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, who was involved in those things, in the killing of Gaddafi's and all that. Now, Putin saw that, and Putin is making a Praetorian Guard, should in case the Americans, they try to take over the government, because Putin could see now, no one is safe. If people can just come in a country like that and kill a president like that, so Putin is thinking to himself, maybe they want to do that to me. So he's gonna put a Praetorian Guard, we are saying. Also, he's gonna try to control the internet and so forth, those other things in the country, to monitor everything. Really, if you saw what happens here, even with the television stations, Putin is taking over everything in Russia. He's controlling everything, putting people in jail. He's trying to protect himself. All right. So we are saying this is 2016. But also, if you remember what happened there in the Battle of Ipsos, so we also know what is happening in 2016. We are talking about this battle, this Western Front battle, when we're talking about Trump, right? You have Trump and Putin versus these 3 branches, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches. So if we try to bring what is happening in Macedonia, we bring it here. Also, again, you will note, if Demetrius and Pyrrhus in 303, as an alliance. This is where this thing of trusting these lines come in. WW3, you have Demetrius and Pyrrhus making an alliance. So in August 23, 1939, you have Hitler and Stalin making an alliance. So you don't see this alliance here. But with the testimony of two, I think is established. Surely in 2014, if you want to see this Trump and Putin, you're going to ask, when did they make this alliance? We're going to say they made this alliance in 2014. Donald Trump and Putin, according to these lines, this is where they come in, or they make this alliance in 2014, according to these patterns. Anyway, so we move on. This is the Battle of Heraclea. We know this is 2019, and this is Battle of Raphia, right? So, sorry, mistake. Battle of Heraclea, this is 2018. So, Battle of Heraclea, we know that the Romans are attacking Pyrrhus there. But also, these lines are teaching us something else. This friendship being broken, because we are discussing all this now, we're trying to squeeze them in one line. Putin and Trump, if they have an alliance here in 2014, so we should be able to see this alliance being broken in 2018. This is a subject on its own. We are not going to discuss here, but there is a very nice study, hopefully we'll do, to show when we talk about this relationship between Trump and Putin, how is it broken? How do we see this? If we are saying they are fighting, how are they fighting? Because remember, this is an information war. We're going to show the Battle of Heraclea, how was it fought? So we are saying this relationship is broken here. Even with Stalin, this relationship is broken here. But this line is showing us that there is a war between the king of the north and the king of the south, between Rome and Pyrrhus, as we are trying to understand Pyrrhus. As we know, this movement was raised to understand the king of the south, right? So 2018, and then you have 2019. So this is the Battle of Raphia, again, as we've said. So we know king of the south is attacking, and the king of the south wins, right? So we are expecting to see that. But you see here, in the battle of this Operation Barbarossa, it's the other way around, because it's the king of the north which is attacking, and it's the king of the north which is winning. So you just have to remember that when we talk about World War II, we are talking about the history of failure. And when we talk about World War III, we are talking about the history of success. So it's like a chasm, or it's a twist, or there's a switch that you have to keep in mind when you are handling these things. Right. So yeah, we leave it at that. So this is 2019, and this is 2021, the Battle of Panion, right? And we know this is Sunday law, when the king of the south will die. So what we see here, okay, again, we will understand, we'll have to go deeper here and understand how this battle is fought, this battle of Panion. But we know that the king of the north will win this battle, just like we saw the Romans win the battle with Pyrrhus, and we are saying these are elephants, right? So it's the elephants that caused this Pyrrhus to win. It's the elephants. It's the elephants, right? It's the elephants which caused Pyrrhus to die, because when he was trying to go back at the gate, he found this elephant. There's this elephant of his, this huge elephant of his. They killed it, and this elephant was blocking the gate. It's one of the things that was blocking Pyrrhus to escape. So you will see here that these elephants are really an issue, right? So, and we are saying this is an information war. This is a new move. This is a mode of warfare which is used here, and we are saying this is information war when we bring it down to our history. So we're going to show how these wars are fought. It's also interesting to know that when Pyrrhus dies, it was a woman who threw a tile at him. We remember that. It's a woman which threw a tile at him, and that's how he died. I think maybe this is interesting. If you remember the story in the Bible, if you remember the story of Jael in the Bible, there's something to do with a woman in this history, and you see a woman taking the glory here, just like Jael when he killed, who was it? Was Sisera? When Sisera was killed by a woman, you remember that story? So something like that. So also these elephants, it's an information war, right? Right. So yes. So in a nutshell, we are trying to understand what is happening in our history using these histories. So in closing, I've seen Elder Pamela was posting some documents. The news now, because we know Putin is fighting Ukraine, right? And really, what is happening now, it brings this question to say, we're just watching. We just want to see how this battle is going to look like, because right now, if you look at the news, even Putin himself has come out now to sort of congratulate himself. Not congratulating himself, but Putin is confident that he's winning the war. So if you look at what is happening now, Putin is winning the war, right? Because I'm talking about the war in Ukraine, right? So it looks like he's winning. Even himself is comfortable now because he has come out to do this call-in session. This call-in session he always does every year. This is when Putin comes out, and then he's going to be in this conference. People will come in and ask him questions, you know, just to give an update of where we're going as a country. So he always does this every year in December. But last year he didn't do it because he started a war with Ukraine, and he didn't want to come out and to engage with people asking him questions because they were going to ask him about the war and all that. He didn't have all the answers. But this time, this December, he came out and is comfortable in asking, in answering these questions, because it looks like he's winning the war, because in the Republicans in America are blocking Joe Biden. They don't want to give him that 60 billion because Joe Biden wants to give Zelensky 60 billion to support him in the war. So it looks like the Republicans are blocking Joe Biden, or they don't want to release the funds because the Republicans, they want something from Joe Biden. They want him to handle the matters there in the southern border. So they want something from Joe Biden so they can release the 60 billion. So we are saying there's no support to Ukraine now. Also, in Europe, it looks like in Europe, the countries are tired of this war because Hungary they didn't want to support, to give their support. So the 50 billion can be released from Europe now to support Ukraine. So Ukraine was supposed to get 50 billion US dollars, also 60 billion from the United States. So the funds are drying out, what we want to say. And Putin is seeing that the funds are not coming, right? On the other hand, Putin is being supported by Iran. Iran are sending these drones, and now this dictator from North Korea, right? He was there in Russia recently. So they are supporting Putin with these weapons. So Putin has got this ammunition to keep him going, whereas Ukraine, on the other hand, they don't have support, right? You remember these past 6 months, Ukraine, they were doing this counter-offensive against the Russians. So it looked like they were gaining some ground, but not much. But they were the ones that were doing the counter-offensive, you know, against Russia. But now the funds are dried. So we just want to say, if you look at what is happening now on TV, it looks like Ukraine is losing, and Putin is winning in such a way that Putin has come out to give a statement to the country for the first time, to give this platform where he's going to be engaged with the public for more than 4 hours. This is how comfortable it is, Putin, to engage the public 4 hours. And he even says there that it looks like he's winning because, I mean, the funds are drying out. This is what he's saying. So anyway, these are the things we are saying. We are saying we are watching to see, but because we are driven by these lines, all we are asking, or all we are looking at, we just want to see these things happening. These lines are guiding us. All we know, the King of the South was defeated in 2021, and that was a wound, or a deadly wound, right? And we know we have to see a death here. This is what prophecy is telling us, because we are discussing this King of the South, right? Putin at the moment. So how it's going to pan out, we are watching to see. We are still waiting to see. So we are not going to be taken by anything or any development in the news. So yeah. So I think this is enough for today. I hope we see what is happening. I hope I was able to draw these parallels and to explain very well. So to some of to us all. So for now, I will ask if there is any question and comments, something like that. So I'll give that time now. Any questions, any comments, any amens, anything? Or am I still audible?
Yes.
Lovely. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, so yeah, this is our story today. We were discussing the Fourth Diadochi War. It's divided into two: Pyrrhus in Macedonia, Pyrrhus in Italy, right? And we bring World War II together, and we try to make a brief application here. And we are saying these wars 2019, 2020, 2018, 2021, we're going to come back and try to understand what is happening here. When we really say this is a battle in 2018, how does this battle look like? 2019, 2021, etc. We're going to try to establish those. So we leave it at that. Okay, so if there's no questions, I think we can have
Yes.
a
Hello, Lucky.
yes, hello, Tammy.
Yebo.
Yeah,
Thank you for the lesson. Thank you very much. We have been following. Uh, but I would like to ask a question here with regards to the developments that we are seeing from the media. Maybe looking at, on the lines as you have just presented. The king of the south dies. There you said it's Argos that plays into an 272 BC. He
yes,
dies. That is from Peniam to the Sunday law.
yes,
So as it looks now, you said Putin, even according to that article that was posted by Elder Paminda on the media broadcast, that it looks as if uh, Putin thinks that he is winning. Okay, he thinks that he is winning, but according to the lines, it says that he will die in 272 BC, which is the Sunday law. So is it possible that it's only the figment of his imagination that he thinks he's winning, but actually he is losing? I think you have mentioned
yeah,
something about him being behind. Also, I think an allusion to that he might be behind what is happening with Hamas to versus Israel. And on this side, he is fighting the war in Ukraine. Is it possible that he also his power is being drained by these uh, two wars that he is fighting? Yet he is putting up this persona that he is winning, whereas he is losing. You mentioned something like the Pyrrhic victory.
yeah.
I'm not.
So
I'm not.
yeah, no, I get you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is possible, right? Elder Paminda was just pointing out that really we are just waiting to see how is everything is going to pan out. Yes, we do have an understanding that at Peniam we saw how Putin was defeated there because we are talking about spheres of influence and all those things. So it is very much possible that it's in his imagination that he's winning because like we talk like now this theme of Pyrrhus winning these wars and but he's being defeated. But particularly World War One, if you remember when we studied World War One, we said because this waymark here in World War One, this is the armistice. If I can try to fit in World War I here, you will remember that this is the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, right? Uh, and this is the armistice, and this is the Treaty of Versailles, right? In 1919. This is November 1918, right? This is March 1918. So the one thing I want to point out here is that Russia was defeated here, because you remember that the Germans sent Lenin in Russia, and Lenin was supposed to take Russia out of the war, the World War One. And in this Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, this is when Russia pulled out of the war, and Russia was defeated here. So Russia is defeated, right? And then here it is Germany which is pulling out in this war now. All the parties are pulling out, but Germany particularly, when they pull out here, the Germans, they didn't know that they've lost the war. This is what I want to bring in. They didn't know that they've lost the war until the Treaty of Versailles, when everything was laid up on the table and the Allies were putting pressure on Germany. So I'm just saying, even Putin here, it's very much possible that he is under this illusion that he will think he's winning or somehow, but he's going to be losing, because even the Germans, they thought they are winning up until Treaty of Versailles, because they've just humiliated the Germans, they've just humiliated Russia in this treaty. But they will find out in Treaty of Versailles that they will lose everything that they've gained in this treaty. So even when we even discuss these histories here, what we are saying, Pyrrhus in Macedonia, he thinks he's got this sphere of influence. They've just separated the territories, Pyrrhus and Lysimachus, right? And Pyrrhus, he thinks he's gaining something. But in 285, he's going to find out he's lost everything except Epirus. Even here with this Cold War, the USSR will lose everything except for Russia. So even Pyrrhus is dying in 272. So these lines are just showing us that it doesn't matter what we see on the media, but according to these lines, the king of the south will lose. And Elder Pamela was just pointing out that we are here to find out how is this going to look like. That's all we are interested in, and how these things are going to look like. But we know what is going to happen. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. Like you said, we looking at the developments, but at least we have a picture what to expect. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just watching the events. We want to see how they're going to look like. Even that defeat, when we talk about this death, we want to see how is this going to look like. So the Lord is going to direct us on these things. Other questions, other comments before we close? Okay. So I think we can close here. All right, let's have a word of prayer. Thank you, Lord, for the study that we have made as we are trying to understand these events. We are trusting you, Lord, that you will guide and direct us because it is you who is holding the lines on top. All we need to do is to put our weight on these lines and trust you, Lord, that you are holding the lines. We thank you for this great light because we have seen the glory of the Lord in these messages. And so we are very honored in these last days to have these kinds of messages to guide us on the way, to shine on our feet. Truly, we are not alone. We are not in darkness. As you have promised that you will be with us until the end of the world. So we thank you for these studies and we pray for our leadership. We pray that you continue to be with our leaders in different parts of the world. We pray, Lord, that you will continue to guide this movement. And we pray for us as individuals that we'll be able to respond accordingly to these messages as you are dealing with us in different ways. To each and every one of us, I pray, dear Lord, that we will be able to be ready even to pass the test which you put before us. Thank you for everything. Continue to guide us. We thank you in the wonderful name of the Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Over to you, Tado. Thank you very much.